Welcome back to Quick Casters. It's Halloween week, and we're doing a deep dive into a case that's truly the stuff of nightmares. We're talking about David Parker Ray, the toy box killer. Now, before we go any further, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on the rest of our spooky Halloween week deep dives.
What's so fascinating and terrifying about this case is how it just highlights the darkness that can hide beneath a seemingly normal surface.
Exactly. David Parker Ray lived a double life. Mechanic, family man, seemingly respected member of his community. In Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. But behind that facade, he was meticulously crafting a horrifying reality.
Ray's case delves into the chilling reality that evil can lurk in plain sight, often disguised by an ordinary exterior.
He spent years constructing his toy box, a soundproof trailer specifically designed for torture. He even had a handwritten torture manual detailing his twisted methods. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment act of violence. This was calculated, planned, and utterly depraved.
This manual wasn't just a collection of dark fantasies. It was a blueprint for his crimes, revealing his deeply disturbing beliefs about women and his systematic approach to breaking them down, both physically and psychologically.
And to make matters even worse, Ray subjected his victims to psychological torture. From the moment they regained consciousness, he had this audio recording he would play, a rambling monologue, filled with threats and pronouncements of his power. It's a chilling testament to his desire to not only inflict physical pain, but to completely dominate and shatter the minds of his victims. We actually have a short excerpt of that recording, and while it is disturbing, it offers a glimpse into the depths of Ray's depravity.
What's particularly insidious about this recording is how he uses language to instill terror and hopelessness. He weaves a tapestry of manipulation and mind games, designed to strip his victims of their will and leave them utterly vulnerable to his control.
It's like he was trying to create this alternate reality, where he was in complete control, and his victims were nothing more than objects for him to manipulate and torment.
That's precisely the kind of control serial offenders like Ray crave. It's not just about the physical act of violence, it's about the psychological domination, the power to manipulate and control another human being.
And the truly disturbing thing is, he wasn't alone in his depravity. His girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, was a willing accomplice, even helping him procure victims. And even more disturbing, his own daughter, Jessie, was involved.
This adds another layer of complexity to this already horrifying case. It forces us to confront the unsettling reality that the potential for darkness can exist, even within familial bonds. It raises questions about coercion, loyalty, and the potential for individuals to be drawn into the abyss of another's depravity.
In 1999, the case took a dramatic turn when Cynthia Vigil, a 22-year-old sex worker, managed to escape. After being held captive by Ray for 3 days, she was badly injured, but incredibly brave. Her testimony was instrumental in bringing Ray down. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit, that even in the face of unimaginable terror, there's still that flicker of hope, that will to survive.
Cynthia's escape was a pivotal moment in the case. Her courage not only saved her own life, but likely prevented countless others from suffering the same fate. It underscores the importance of resilience and the power of a single individual to make a difference, even in the face of overwhelming darkness.
Think about it. Naked, chained, tortured for days, and she still fought back. She managed to get her hands on an ice pick and used it against her captor during a struggle. It speaks to the level of desperation and courage it must have taken for her to break free from that horrific situation.
It's a chilling reminder of the brutality of Ray's methods and the sheer terror his victims must have endured. It's through Cynthia's bravery that we can begin to grasp the magnitude of their suffering and the strength it took for them to survive.
She ends up running down the street, still wearing that dog collar Ray put on her, until someone finally helps her. It's a scene straight out of a horror movie, and it's a stark reminder that these are not just stories, these are the real-life experiences of individuals who were subjected to unimaginable cruelty.
That image of Cynthia running for her life is incredibly powerful. It speaks volumes about the trauma she endured and the desperate hope that fueled her escape.
When the police finally searched Ray's property, they uncovered a horrifying collection of evidence. The toy box itself, videos of his victims being tortured, photos, drawings, and his meticulous torture manual.
This wasn't simply a case of random violence. This was a meticulously planned and executed operation. The evidence paints a disturbing picture of Ray's obsession with control and his methodical approach to inflicting pain.
It's truly chilling to consider the level of thought and preparation he put into causing such unimaginable suffering.
It's a stark reminder of the depravity that some individuals are capable of, and the importance of understanding the warning signs of such dangerous behavior.
And the authorities are convinced Ray is a serial killer. But here's the thing. They never found any bodies. Not a single one.
The absence of bodies is a common challenge in cases involving organized serial killers, particularly those who take meticulous steps to conceal their crimes.
The New Mexico desert is vast. There's a huge lake near Ray's property. Imagine trying to find remains in that kind of environment.
The sheer scale and remoteness of the area make it an ideal dumping ground for someone like Ray, intent on erasing any trace of his victims.
So, the case goes to trial. They have mountains of evidence pointing to Ray's guilt, but no bodies, ultimately. He's convicted on a slew of charges, including kidnapping and torture. He's sentenced to 224 years in prison.
However, in a final twist of irony...
Oh, I know where you're going with this. Tell me, what happened?
David Parker Ray died of a heart attack in 2002, before he could reveal the location of his victims' remains.
Can you believe that? This guy terrorized women for decades, likely ended the lives of countless victims, and he dies of natural causes, before he can even begin to serve his sentence.
It's a frustrating end to a case that's filled with so many unanswered questions. The true extent of Ray's crimes may never be fully known.
It's a chilling reminder that sometimes justice is elusive, and the full weight of evil's actions may never be truly accounted for. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives this week.
And if you're interested in learning more about the psychology of serial killers, we'll provide links to resources in the description below.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on the Toy Box Killer, after a quick word from our sponsors.
It's a stark reminder that the pursuit of justice is often complex, and at times, frustratingly incomplete.
It really is. Okay, we've talked about Ray, his accomplices, the victims we know about, but there's another aspect of this case that I find equally disturbing.
You're referring to the speculation surrounding the true extent of Ray's crimes and the possibility of a wider network of individuals involved.
Exactly. This guy had a custom-built torture chamber. He was meticulous in his planning, and he clearly targeted a specific type of victim. Does it make sense that he could operate for so long, with accomplices, and no one else knew about it?
It's a question that has haunted investigators and fueled countless theories. Some believe Ray may have been involved in a larger criminal enterprise, perhaps even a trafficking ring.
Right, and there were those whispers about parties at his property, with all sorts of unsavory characters.
The rumors surrounding those gatherings are difficult to substantiate, but they add another layer of intrigue to this already disturbing case. Was Ray part of a larger network of individuals who shared his depraved interests? Did his activities extend beyond the confines of his property? These are questions that we may never have definitive answers to.
And there's something else that bothers me. Ray died before revealing the location of his victims' remains. Was that intentional? Was he taking that information to the grave as a final act of control? Or was he simply incapable of remembering?
It's impossible to know for sure what was going on in Ray's mind in those final moments, but his silence only adds to the torment of the victims' families and the lingering mystery surrounding the case.
It's a heartbreaking reality that they may never find closure, never know the full truth about what happened to their loved ones, you know. While researching this case, I came across some information about other serial killers and their methods of disposing of bodies. It's almost like a separate ritual, a way to exert control even after death.
The disposal of a body often becomes a crucial aspect of a serial killer's modus operandi. It's not just about hiding evidence, it's about controlling the narrative, maintaining a sense of power, and silencing the victims forever.
It's like they're trying to erase any trace of the person they've killed, to exert their dominance even in death.
And the methods they use can reveal important insights into their psychological profiles. Some are meticulous and organized, taking great care to eliminate any trace. Others are impulsive and chaotic, leaving behind telltale signs, for example. You have someone like Henry Landrew, the Bluebeard of Gambase, who meticulously lured wealthy widows to his home, murdered them, and then burned their bodies in his fireplace.
Then there's Marcel Pidio, who also used fire, but on a much larger scale. He had an elaborate scheme during World War II, where he lured victims to his home under the pretense of helping them escape Nazi persecution. In reality, he was murdering them. and disposing of their bodies in a giant furnace.
And let's not forget John George Hay, the acid bath murderer, who believed that dissolving a body in acid would make it impossible to prove a murder had taken place.
It's almost as if these killers believe they're smarter than everyone else, that they can outwit the authorities and escape justice.
There's often a sense of grandiosity and invincibility that accompanies serial killers. They believe they're above the law, that they can outsmart anyone who tries to catch them.
But even the most meticulous killers can make mistakes. Take Joel Rifkin, for example. He was pulled over with a body in his car.
Rifkin's case demonstrates that even the most cunning criminals are not infallible. A single oversight, a moment of carelessness, can be their undoing. So, back to David Parker Ray. We know he liked to dispose of his victims in the desert, in that lake. How do you think he managed to keep his crimes hidden for so long?
Well, the remoteness and vastness of the New Mexico desert definitely played a role. It's a sparsely populated area, with rugged terrain, countless canyons, and arroyos where a body could easily be hidden. And Elephant Butte Lake, with its depths and murky waters, would make recovery efforts incredibly difficult.
You also have to consider the time period. This was before DNA testing and other forensic techniques were as advanced as they are today.
And let's not forget the profile of his victims. Many were sex workers, individuals who are often overlooked and marginalized by society. Their disappearances might not have raised as many red flags as they should have.
That's a tragic reality. Ray deliberately targeted vulnerable individuals who were less likely to be missed or have their stories believed. It speaks to a larger societal issue of how we often fail to protect those who are most at risk.
It's heartbreaking to think that these women were preyed upon because they were already living on the margins of society. Their stories deserve to be heard and remembered, and we must continue to fight for justice and accountability for all victims of violence, regardless of their background or circumstances.
Absolutely. If you're finding this deep dive as intriguing as we are, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We have a ton of captivating content coming your way, especially during this Halloween week.
We've covered a lot of ground: Ray's twisted world, his accomplices, the victims, the missing bodies, the theories. It's a lot to process.
It's a case that sticks with you. It's a testament to the darkness that can reside in the human heart and the enduring mystery that can surround even the most heinous crimes.
As we delve deeper into the dark world of the toy box killer, we're left with a chilling question. How does someone become a David Parker Ray? What leads a person down such a path of depravity and violence?
It's a question that has perplexed criminologists and psychologists for centuries. There's no simple answer, no single factor that can explain such extreme deviance. But there are certain patterns, certain red flags that often emerge in the backgrounds of serial killers.
So what are some of those red flags? What are the warning signs that someone might be capable of such horrific acts?
Well, as we discussed earlier, Ray had a deeply troubled childhood, marked by abuse and neglect. Early exposure to violence and instability can lay the foundation for future aggression and create a distorted view of relationships.
So childhood trauma can be a significant factor.
It can be, but it's crucial to remember that not everyone who experiences trauma becomes a violent offender. It's a complex interplay of nature and nurture, a combination of genetic predispositions, personality traits, and environmental influences.
It's not a simple cause and effect situation.
Precisely. Another common thread we see in serial killers is a fascination with violence and control, often emerging at an early age. Ray's obsession with pornography and sadomasochism, which began in his adolescence, is a prime example of this.
And he wasn't just passively interested. He was actively planning and preparing for his crimes. He built that torture chamber, meticulously documented his methods in that manual. It's like he was relishing the anticipation, the meticulous planning of it all.
That meticulousness, that attention to detail, is another hallmark of many serial killers. They derive a sense of power and satisfaction, not just from the act itself, but from the careful orchestration, the control they exert over every aspect of their crimes. It becomes a twisted form of artistry for them.
It's both fascinating and terrifying to consider that level of premeditation, that cold, calculating approach to inflicting pain.
It's a stark reminder that the human mind is capable of incredible darkness, of compartmentalizing and rationalizing even the most depraved acts.
And in Ray's case, it seems his fantasies eventually morphed into this horrifying reality. He was able to maintain this facade of normalcy while harboring such darkness within.
His ability to compartmentalize his life, to present this image of a respectable family man, while simultaneously engaging in such horrific acts, is a testament to the duality of human nature, the capacity for both good and evil that resides within us all.
It's a chilling reminder that we can never truly know what lurks beneath the surface, what dark secrets might be hidden behind a seemingly ordinary mask.
And it's important to remember that Ray wasn't acting alone. He had accomplices, individuals who were drawn into his web of depravity and enabled his crimes. That adds another layer of complexity to this already disturbing case.
His girlfriend, Cindy Hendy, actively participated in the torture and helped him find victims. And then there's his daughter, Jessie, who was also involved. How do we even begin to understand the twisted dynamics at play in those relationships?
The role of accomplices in serial murder cases is a fascinating and often unsettling area of study. Why would someone participate in such horrific acts? Are they coerced? Are they driven by a shared ideology or pathology? These are questions that continue to intrigue and challenge researchers.
It's a tangled web of motivations and relationships that might never be fully untangled.
In some cases, accomplices may be manipulated or coerced into participation, especially if they're vulnerable or dependent. Others might be drawn in by a shared fascination with violence or a distorted sense of loyalty. And in some instances, the accomplice might have their own underlying psychological issues that predispose them to such behavior.
It's a chilling reminder that evil rarely operates in isolation. It often thrives in environments where boundaries are blurred, where power is abused, and where individuals are susceptible to manipulation and coercion.
It's a stark reminder that we must remain vigilant, that we must strive to create a society where vulnerability is not exploited, where healthy boundaries are respected, and where individuals are empowered to speak out against injustice and abuse.
Wow. This deep dive into the case of the toy box killer has certainly been a harrowing journey. It's a chilling testament to the darkness that can reside in the human heart and the enduring mystery that often surrounds such heinous crimes.
It's a case that challenges our understanding of good and evil, forcing us to confront the complexities of human behavior and the potential for even seemingly ordinary individuals to commit extraordinary acts of violence.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with anyone who might be interested in exploring the dark side of human nature. Remember, knowledge is power, and by understanding the depths of human depravity, we can better equip ourselves to combat it.
And if you're looking for more chilling content, especially during this Halloween week, we have a whole playlist of deep dives into some of the most notorious and intriguing true crime cases out there. Check it out, you won't be disappointed.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe.